This video is a little bit different from the other ones in this death series, but I still thought it may be very interesting for you. I found this YouTube channel, Hospice Nurse Julie, and as the title already says, she is a hospice nurse who is talking a lot about her experiences in that job. In today's video, I'm going to react to one of her videos. There will be more of that. However, of course, I'm still going to give you in the future more of the death glitch stories, but this is a little bit different, and I thought it was still interesting. Today's video is called Why You Shouldn't Be Afraid of Death and Dying. And of course, her being a hospice nurse, she is mainly talking about elderly people who are dying from a natural death. This is not too much talking about people who have accidents, but it's still a part of us, and one day we will transition. However, I still believe in quantum immortality, and I do believe that those people then will go back in time and relive the same life over, just with a little bit of an alteration. Maybe, for example, parents moved into a different apartment, and then it's like another tree branch opening up, and they live the same life over and over again. Or as Neville Goddard said, going back to 20. You can watch that video. You will find it in this death series playlist, where Neville Goddard is also talking about when we die, we relive the same life over again. He says we go back to 20, so maybe we don't even go back all the way to childhood, but that of course can be different from scenario to scenario. However, I believe that the experience of dying still of course is a very real experience that is part of the program in the Matrix. Maybe if you have seen this death series playlist, you saw the videos where people had this afterlife experience. Difference then was that those people died prematurely. Now we do have this organic death in old age, and then of course I believe we go back to, I don't know, 20, 0, 50, 60. I have no idea. It is very individual. But still, let's see how that final moments, what happens within our physical body before we then are getting reborn. So I got my headphones now, so let's start.
I'm not afraid of death, and here's the science behind it. Our body biologically helps us die. So here is what I've seen and learned as a hospice nurse over the years. Our body is literally built to die. If someone comes on hospice and they're 6 months out from death, their body will start shutting down for them. How does that look? They start eating less, and they stop drinking less, and they start sleeping more. But why? That is happening because calcium levels in the body are going up. And because calcium levels are going up, the person is getting sleepier.
I have seen a couple of her videos, and I have to say I didn't see that video specifically. I just saw the title, where she claims that when pets die or animals die, they go through the same process, and that is something that I can't confirm. I have had 2 cats die of a natural death. However, the last one, he was already in the dying process. That was this February, so it's not that long ago. And during his dying process, he had his weaker days. He had days where he could just jump on the couch, jump on my bed that is even a lot higher than this couch. But he had weaker days, and I don't know how it happened. I just know that I was sitting on him with the couch, and all of a sudden his back went straight, and he seemed to be in pain and couldn't really walk. So I called the vet, and he diagnosed a slipped disc, and then told me the best option was to actually release him, because he was already in the dying process anyway, so it wouldn't have been, the vet said maximum like 2 more weeks probably. Of course you can never say it like this, but he said if you're lucky like 2 more weeks, but he would advise to release him. But this dying process already had started, and so I had 2 cats in my past, and it was exactly that. They just stopped eating, or no, they didn't stop eating. They started eating less and drinking less. And with my cat, I got the vet because she was still fit and running around, and the vet said, oh, it's probably just gastritis. But she died within that same week. The vet was here on Monday, and she passed on that Saturday, or rather Saturday morning when I got up, she already had passed. And with my ticker, it was a process of about 3 weeks, and it also started with him eating less, sleeping more, and the entire time I had the feeling that it was very peaceful. Of course, I was very emotional since I knew what was happening with him. With my cat, I didn't, because I didn't know the signs back then. With my boy, I had seen it before, so I was very conscious on what was happening. So there was a lot of grieving that already started in that process, but still I felt it in one way to be very peaceful. But yes, even our pets that still eating less and drinking less is, I can confirm, part of it. But let's continue.
Our brains have built-in mechanisms to make us hungry and thirsty biologically. When the body knows it's getting towards the end of life, those mechanisms shut off. So the person does not usually feel hungry and does not usually feel thirsty, which is helping the body slowly shut down. Our perception of death is always next to or adjacent to the person who actually is in the dying body. So we're seeing what they're going through. And because we're not in a dying body, it can feel really scary. And you must think that must feel bad to sleep all the time, not eat, not drink. They're starting to look different. So it can feel really scary, but we're not in that dying body. When someone is, it's a different shift because it feels natural, or it can feel natural. Now, there are times when the disease that the person is experiencing can cause symptoms, and it is more difficult, right? Because they're dying from a certain disease. But the actual process that the body is going through to help it die is actually helping that person. There have been many times as a hospice nurse that I have watched someone slowly die on hospice and not needing to give them any medication because of that. Their disease was not causing them any symptoms. No pain, no shortness of breath. They were just more tired and not eating and drinking. They still did all of the things any other person on hospice would be doing, like they slowly go unconscious, they slowly stop eating and drinking. I had to give them no medications, and they were perfectly comfortable and died a very peaceful death.
And I've never really been around a dying person, as in human, but I can really confirm that, having had 2 cats, like elderly cats. One was 17 and one was 21 when they passed. And as I just said earlier, it felt really peaceful. It didn't seem to be any pain, and except for, of course, towards the end when he had hurt his back. I don't know if that happened because on a weekday he was not jumping on or off bed or couch, right? I have no idea. Just like all of a sudden he sat there and something happened within him and his back, and I noticed that and again called the vet immediately. But with my cat, of course, I was there the entire time. I left my apartment like 3 times within those 3 weeks. I was at home the entire time, and I only left to get like grocery shopping or something, basically for him, on good days. But it did feel, I didn't have the impression that there was like any pain or discomfort, just a lot of sleeping, as she said, and eating less.
So many people think my loved one was unconscious because they gave them so much medication, when in reality, they're probably unconscious because their body is in that dying phase and causing them to slowly go unconscious. Another thing that is still really comforting to me is that when the body really stops eating and drinking, which everyone at the end of life will do, the body slowly goes into something called ketosis, which releases endorphins in that person's body. Those endorphins dull pain, dull nerves, and they also give that person a euphoric sense. So they feel good. There are many reasons why I don't fear death. Yes, I've had some pretty crazy spiritual experiences as a hospice nurse that led me to not fear death, but there are also biological, metabolical, physiological things that happen in the body that truly comforted me watching it as a hospice nurse. Coming from an ICU setting where I was constantly trying to keep people alive, which has its place, of course, and then shifting to hospice where I saw the body die naturally, it was even wild to me as a medical professional what the body can do to help us. And at the end of the day, our bodies are built to die. The less we mess with that, the more peaceful it will be.
Well, that was it with her video. And again, it is Hospice Nurse Julie. That is her channel. Maybe you want to check out her channel, because of course she's got a completely different perspective from mine, even though she does talk about metaphysics a little bit, about some, do I want to call them ghost stories? You know, like people getting picked up from deceased family members. That one I experienced myself, or observed myself, when my grandfather was dying. We had been estranged, we were not close, but I knew that he was dying, and I didn't know exactly when, but I had that, it felt like he was calling me, and I've always been a psychic, of course, so I felt like I have to go, and I kind of had the feeling there's a part of him who wants to see me, because we had been estranged. You know, we were not on the best terms, not on the worst, but not on the best terms. And I had the feeling like he needs to see me in order to let go. So one day I had this strong feeling I had to go there, called my grandma, went, I believe, the same day or the next day. And he was, I want to say, delirium. I don't know if he consciously realized that I was there. I'm pretty sure that a higher part of him knew I was there. I was talking to him. I just realized I can't take those off. But he constantly stared at the wall or ceiling, and he was like, Papa, Papa. So he didn't have his teeth, so he probably wanted to say Papa, which is the German word for dad. And I wanted to ask him, oh, did your dad come to pick you up? I didn't, because I did not want to freak out my grandma. But I'm pretty sure that, you know, he was like reaching out all the time, and that to me was also a very beautiful moment. I mean, on one hand, you have a family member dying, so that is not a beautiful thing, but on the other hand, time had come, you know, and sometimes death can be a release of, you know, like an old, and merely old is not the issue, but unhealthy body. So I saw it more as a release. So of course there was a little bit of sadness, but also being happy for him to finally being able to cross. And also when I realized, yeah, there's someone there to pick him up, I'm certain that he did see someone there. So she's got stories about that as well, so you may want to check out her channel, especially if you are scared of dying yourself, or maybe you have lost someone and you're grieving, and maybe you have experienced what she's describing, them being not conscious, in delirium, not eating and drinking. And then of course that can help you a little bit to understand what is going on within our bodies, because in the end death is a very natural process. We are all going to go through it, even though, again, I believe in quantum immortality, meaning being instantly reborn, jumping back in time. We're living the same life over with just minor alterations. But yeah, it's a completely different view. And I think I'm going to react to a couple of her videos. I already picked some in the future. And I hope I see you there. And till then, I do wish you all the best now. Bye-bye. If you want to book your own custom-made affirmation or subliminal, you will find my contact information in the description box below. Or if you want me to coach you when it comes to manifesting, I am a certified manifestation coach. Don't hesitate to contact me.